All right, so the badge. There's the link that's been in the Hardware Hacking Village, and later we'll post the other link for the code a little bit later once we looked at it. But so last year's badge, for those who remember, it was pre-built, had awesome 8-bit graphics and maps on there, courtesy of Klint and Dustin and folks. And it was a power monster, and nobody's really ran very long, right? And then it was based on Lua and C code for the 2 different processors on there. So when proposals were happening for this year's badge, there was talk of, okay, maybe we don't do a badge. And there were some proposals out there, and someone proposed something like this with Kelly's name on it. And that didn't go over too well, but it had changeable screens, just like the other one. So we thought it was okay, but guess that didn't go over. Yep, there we go. So as you can see, that was really just a modified last year's badge. But so this year's badge, based on the same Wi-Fi chip as last year, and then we added some tweaks to work with the MAX 7219 chip that's in the center that runs your LEDs. The Hackers Challenge game score was sent with an MQTT message broker server, just like last year's information. This year we were 1 piece of information. It's also how we did the countdown to the Hackers Challenge, which was a last-minute modification to the source code and pushed out to your badges. The brightness is adjusted based on location data from those APs and the CMX and things that Luke kind of mentioned. And then, yeah, the seven segment displays are even more retro than the old ones. So design goal number 1 was more power. So this is a high voltage power line on our campus at the day job, and it looks like that inside, and it's like 4 inches big, 5 inches big, and bigger batteries. Kind of SLA battery there. This was one of the first prototypes we sent to Seth so he could test and make sure that the MQTT stuff was going to work for him, and he loved it. And so we tried sourcing all the parts most of the parts from China to try and help. And the D1 minis that you use on here that you had to flash at the flashing stations, those only come from China. And so when I got it, if you've ever ordered anything from AliExpress or Banggood or someplace like that, you know that if it starts out as a cardboard box, it ends up being a cardboard bag by the time you get it to your door. So that's what the box of D1 minis looked like. And when I went to pick it up, it felt like one of those manila envelopes instead. But it was completely taped with packing tape everywhere. And that's a picture of all the stuff inside, showing that it really came. So the D1 Mini, or the MAX 7219 chip on the front, it has a font that can display 4 letters, and in addition to the numbers, and that is help backwards, because those dev chips the dev board we saw earlier was also from China, and the whole right to left, left to right differences in the languages, I'm assuming, they had wired their Max chip up digit 1 on the opposite side of what we would think. So our test code, I put it on here and I'm like, man, why did Klint spell P-L-E-H? I couldn't figure it out. I started Googling a little bit. And then one day I walked back in with it on like this and I was like, oh, right, help backwards. So because I remembered back 3 or 4 months before when I created the badge board that I was going to wire it correctly so it'd be easier to do the loops and everything. But so
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. So this is just when we were first writing the code, when it would reboot, it would start throwing random characters on the screen every time it would reboot. So it was saying a number, and then it would slowly just degrade. And so we figured out it was part of the sleep commands that were causing this to happen.
So as I said, tried to source all the parts from China. These MAX 7219 chips are about $5 a pop when bought from Mauser, and there was places on AliExpress that sold them for $1.25. And our first test batches were from there just to get our boards going. So I ordered up the 600 and like, okay, where are they? They show they're in LA or wherever, whatever port they came in. And a couple of days later, I got a letter in the mail that said U.S. Customs Border Protection on it. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I have to pay tariffs or taxes, right? That's fine. So open it up and it says, oh, provide a trademark release. I'm like, oh, didn't think about that part. So, well, the seller's supposed to provide that, right? Seller wouldn't provide it. So we ended up having to source them from Mauser and get a refund from the seller. So I don't know if they ever made it back to the seller, but who knows? So then the other part we ordered from all the little discrete parts that you had in all your mini bags. You know, that took us forever to pack all those up. Not really. We ordered those from Tata Electronics, which they sell a lot of stuff on eBay and things. You can also just buy directly from their store. If you need any little parts, it's great to go there. There's a $5 minimum order. But I asked them if they would package parts, because when you order parts from them, they come in all the individual bags, kind of like this. They keep all of your resistors together, unlike they did here. But as I was ordering, I said, hey, we need 615 packages that look like this. And that's how you got your little bag of stuff. And they said, well, okay, what's your budget? And I said, no, give me a quote. And we went back and forth and we got it worked out. And then they asked me at one point, how do you want the extra pieces packaged? Because we ordered extras, because as you guys know, not everybody puts their diode in correctly, or including some of us sometimes. So we ordered extras, and I said, yeah, just package those how you would. Well, I open up the bag or the box when I first got it, and I pull it out, and I'm like, oh man, did they pack all these individually and put them not in 615 kits? Because this was the first bag on top. As you maybe can see there, that's just a whole bunch of diodes in one bag. And it scared me for a second there, but then I looked below and found they had the bags that you guys were provided. So, and I thought, okay, well, for $60, package all those, that's pretty good. And then I had to order all of the 7-segment displays. I was hoping to get all one color to make it easy, but in the end, SparkFun did not have enough reds for us to buy, so I went to the next color. That still didn't fulfill our order, so I went to the next color, and the very last colors were the white and the blue, because we didn't want to get too many blues around here. But unfortunately, we had to get a few of them. But it gave some diversity to everything and gave you guys choice, so it was fun. And then you guys all had fun hacking the badge, because you all came in and did stuff, and various people have done lots of fun things with it. I guess any questions? Got plenty of time here, I think. No questions, not that I can see anybody.
And thanks to the guys at the Hardware Hacking Village for helping everyone build the badges.
Yeah.
Great.
Alan. Yep. Okay.